Hi, everyone. We're doing Journal 22 today. Journal 22, the 17th day of Arzox 2022. Arzox is both a season and a month. The 5 seasons in the fables in these stories are Arzox, Lilar, Rhinoa, Lufoa, R.E.M, and each one of those seasons has multiple months in it. So this is technically first Arzox, which ends on January 20th. January 21st begins second Arzox, and then Lilar begins on February 20th, and so on. Another Lilar, and then 3 Rhinoas, because that's Gaia variation. It's more important in both the calendar and the culture. And then also Lufoa, this moon variation. It doesn't matter. None of that matters for the sake of this journal. It matters in the novel, but not for this journal. So Journey Home, that's this title. Hi, everyone. This is the final journal of our 7-day journey. The quest asks one last question. When visiting the Sugiyama seaboard, what sort of environment am I walking into? There must be traditions, beliefs, values, circadian rhythms, social institutions, e.g. laws, styles of fashion, maybe even holidays I can be prepared for. I think it's important to do that preparing because everywhere I've ever been, I have been greeted by members of a unique culture, state to state, country to country, continent to continent, all unique. Each trip I remember fondly is one in which I assimilated with that culture. And assimilation, at least for me, means conforming to the tenets of its etiquette. In my experience, it is never the words themselves that inspire invitations and kindness from the locals. It's how those words are expressed, i.e. etiquette. So if I'm planning a trip to Koichi land and I'm hoping for a warm reception, what are the core tenets I should conform to? A light heart and a heavy imagination. That's all that is asked of its tourists. Ever courteous to my host, I play that role the best I can, and I'm always rewarded for my effort. Not with mere kindness, which wilts faster than flowers. I'm given lasting gifts, a turn of phrase, a solution to a plot problem, gem after gem to adorn my writing. When it's time for me to leave, when the coda has struck its final note, I feel something close to sadness, already longing for the next visit. And with that, my rambling, circuitous journey seems to have concluded exactly where it began, right where, deep down, I knew I'd arrive. Because some way or another, we always return to where we were born. Salmon do it when they breed. People do it when they retire. My journal did it when it left home for its first multiple-day adventure. In Joseph Campbell's The Million-Faced Man, the archetypal hero eventually comes home and is either accepted or rejected by the friends and family he or she once left behind. In this case, I suspect my community will not be extending me the full hero's welcome because I didn't do anything particularly heroic. I didn't even get the book's name right. But I still feel like I undertook my journey in the right way, like a scientist, like a completist, like a Dragon Quest player who levels up to the max and acquires every single item, like me. And now that my quest is over, it's time to unpack and get back to normal life, i.e. put down this journal and resume writing the actual novel. Thanks for accompanying me clear to the end. You were a good traveling partner. Those are getting harder and harder to find these days. But now, having completed both this journey and my New Year's resolution, it's time we part ways. As I return to the grind of real everyday life in Fantasyland, I wish you all the warmth that my unique-ish culture, kindness, can offer. Okay, so that's number 22. I do have some final thoughts on video game music, which sort of became the theme of this stuff before I wave, goodbye forever and ever, and for a week, and whatever, I'll see you next week. So one final compliment, really, about video game music, which is that it continues to accomplish something that most like song for song's sake music no longer does. Okay, so let's say you're a songwriter, you're a musician, an artist, a band, whatever. All you can really do now is create a song. What the listeners do with it is out of your control. And so I think today, the way people listen to music is they take that song and they like insert it into a playlist of other random whatever. Or maybe you'll hear it on like a pseudo radio station, like a streaming service, like playlist, like it shuffles into. But so you're going to encounter these. An artist will take great care to create this, and then it'll be encountered by a listener in a playlist called something like, workout jams, right? Or like lo-fi study beats or something. So in the former one, it would be earbuds, right? And in the latter, it would be like laptop speakers. I don't know that artists, again, musicians or whatever, have ever really had control over the environment in which music is being listened to. Oh, you need wood floors. Here's what you need with lighting. You need blackout curtains, you need a lava lamp, whatever. I don't know if they ever had really control over the environment, but musicians used to have at least a lot more control over the emotional arc. It was this curated experience for the listener. So story, I'm wearing this shirt on purpose. It's an R.E.M. shirt I bought it at the concert. This is the Up tour. This is from 1999. Up came out in 98. And then my prop on the phone booth, that's the beanie from the Monster tour. But this tour, like I was on stage in this show. I got like backstage passes or whatever, but you're actually on stage. And so I was on the stage with Michael Stipe and Peter Buck, Mike Mills, and Bill Berry wasn't in the band at this point, but that was, in if I'm to rank my life experiences or just say like this is top tier, here's the memories that I'm going to keep. That's one of them, right? Being on stage, but the corresponding album for this shirt for this tour was Up. Okay, and it came out in 1998. Late October 98. And Grant, my bestie, he and I were in high school, and it came out on a school day. The album did. And so obviously we had to skip school. We were both like good students. We didn't do that often, but clearly we have to skip school this day. Why would the school system be open? If a Dragon Quest game is being released or an R.E.M. album is being released, the school district should understand that there's no reason to have school. That was our reasoning. And so we left school, skipped, and we went out to Groovacious, the best record store. I don't think it exists anymore, but once upon a time, the best record store in Salem. It's where I got like most of my music. And we each bought it, right? This is the special edition for Up. And this is the normal version of the album, but you can see it's signed by Peter Buck to Courtney, which to me makes it more, like my name is spelled wrong, obviously, but it makes it more special because lots of people are named Courtney. And so lots of people have signed things from some, in this case, like a musical icon, Peter Buck. And I think nobody has anything signed to Courtney. Like in the English language, those characters, I don't think have ever been in that order before. So those are my albums. Grant and I skip. We go buy these things, and we're not going to listen in the car. That would ruin the experience. This is an experience for us, and so we get in the car and we're driving home, and we're going to go to my house because both of my parents were at work. For Grant, his dad was at work and his mom wasn't that day, so we couldn't go to Grant's house. And we're in West Salem, right? We're at this stoplight, and we're in front on our side, and right across the street, just coming our way in front of that line, in front of that red light, was Grant's mom. Okay, sitting right. And okay, so for the car we're driving, the car Grant's driving, and I'm in the passenger, and we're holding our R.E.M. gear, cradling it like it's our new infant that we're sharing. And we had twins, so we each got it. The car we're driving is a 1971 Ford LTD station wagon with wood paneling down the sides, and it's milky from the abuse of the sun and some lashing rains and whatever. It's this like milky paneled wagon. It's kind of like National Lampoon's, I think, Vacation or whatever, the Chevy Chase wagon. It's kind of like that one. You can look up what pictures of this look like. But Grant and I had taken shortly before this house paint, like Jeopardy blue house paint, and painted racing stripes, two parallel racing stripes up the hood over the top. And that is not a car that exists anywhere else. I mean, this is really, that's Courtney in car form. It doesn't have, a clone anywhere. And so Grant and I, we see his mom right across the way, and we both duck so you can't see us, right? So best case scenario, Grant's mom looks across the way and goes, oh, a ghost, like a poltergeist stole my car. I gotta call this. Nobody had cell phones back then, so she'll get home before she calls it. So that was like best case scenario. Realistic case scenario, it's like, oh, they're skipping school, but R.E.M. album came out that day. She knows. Grant's mom knows. She's still. I'm still close with the whole thing. When Marie and I'm sorry, I'm like getting sidetracked. When Marie and I got married, our wedding list, our guest list was tiny. I mean, we're talking like it was the venue was minuscule, and we was in a COVID time. And so, who were some of the first people to make the guest list? Grant's parents. So anyway, Grant's mom, she never said anything. She knew, she got it. But we went back to my parents' house, and we put the album in. I mean, this is like void your bladder ahead of time. We're not stopping. This is an experience that we're going to have listening to this album. We're not skipping songs, jumping around, right? Like, oh, listen to that one again or whatever. We push play and we make it to the end. Bring whatever food and drinks, a cola or whatever with you, because we're not pulling over, right? This is we get the headphones, old headphones, right? Not earbuds that just might as well be the computer speaker. Old cans, that kind of headphones. And we pull out the booklet, right? That has the liner notes and pictures and lyrics. I mean, this is the first album R.E.M. ever did that had lyrics printed in it. And so listening to these songs for the first time in order, just clear to the end, one song after another, entirety, with the lyric book open, and we're seeing the words in print that we're hearing. It was this, I mean, it's like if I were to, again, rank these experiences, yeah, being on stage at this show with the band, I mean, that's one of my favorite memories. This one's better, though. Skipping school to buy the R.E.M. to buy Up the day it came out, and then continuing to skip school to listen to it, start to finish, and just have this experience really special to me. But I don't think it is unique, in how people used to listen to music. Now, maybe it wasn't, blue racing stripes on the Ford wagon and R.E.M. specifically, but how people used to listen, where the artist could genuinely curate the experience and you really go through the whole thing. That's really not how people listen to music anymore. I mean, it really, it's just it's the like workout jams and so I don't think artists, musicians, bands, whatever, are writing music for the experience that we used to have. Again, normal to people in the 20th century, but now that's not really, I think most music that people hear today, it's in a rush to get to the chorus. I mean, if the singer can make it in 3 breaths, like, okay, can we go for 2? I mean, there's no complexity, right, in the songs, right? There's no key changes in these things. There's no like sophisticated notation, right? Nothing interesting with a timing signature. In the lyrics, it's like they're written by a middle schooler, right? Probably on purpose, because the audience that they're trying to sell to maximize revenue, it's like a bunch of middle schoolers, like, oh, I'm one of you, I sing just like you. But the worst part of all of these songs, to me, today's songs, to me, is that every individual track within a song, right? Not the song, but the tracks. So here's the like guitar, but sort of a synth thing. Here's the straight synth, right? Here's the like pretend drum, everything quantized, everything gridded, right, into perfect timing. This sort of computer, every individual track within the song has its volume maxed out, right? So there's no shape, right? It's like an aural block of noise, of sound, of music, whatever. There's no contours to it. It's not like, well, this track is quiet, and here's the swell, and here's the lull, and let's control emotion, and it's just big old blocks of noise. Because the world is so loud, and they have to compete in volume, and in whatever random shuffle that you're going to encounter that song. The song before is as loud as it can possibly be. The decibels are maxed out without distorting. And the song after it, the random song after it, has its decibels maxed out without distorting. And so if you come in and try to have shape to your song, it's quiet relative. And so it fades into and so I just don't think people are experiencing music anymore. I do think there's two venues left. There's two venues left in which the emotions, the feelings, you begin a journey and you're taken through this series of guided feelings. I think there's two venues when that happens. One of them is live performances, concerts. Go to the symphony or something like that. Here's your intermission to pee, but then come back and here's the second half of your emotional journey. And then the other one's video games. And like you could argue that movies, that like cinema, that the film score is, but film scores are not as prominently featured in movies as they are in video games. I like play a Dragon Quest game. Really, all you hear is the music and some sound effect, like a Foley artist in the movie. Like you hear some sound effects. But the major thing you hear from beginning to end without interruption is like a symphony accompanying you on this guided journey of emotion. And the music really dials into that. So I think we're so far past the age at which video game music is not universally regarded as one of the highest art forms. And one of the only art forms left in which people's attention spans have enough endurance to get clear through to the end without the potty break. But that's it. Those are the lab. Now I get to wave goodbye forever and ever. Those are the last thoughts I have on video game music. So I hope my departing wishes for you are that your experiences, whatever they are, music and whatever, are fulfilling and memorable and not interrupted by a need to pee.